Manikatu, Rahubat, welcome. Maboyka, welcome in Taino, welcome in Nuapian, Sabian, Rahubat, Sabah culture, and also welcome in English. What's going on, people? What's going on? Well, I just wanted to come on. I was going to do an interview, but I'm waiting for the brother to get back in contact with me. That's why you're going to see the title is different. It's going to be interview with Hansu Amonre, but I'm waiting on him to see if he comes on. He comes on now, but I already have a few to get it done. But let me see. Let me see if I get anything from him. Not yet. Okay, pretty good. Alrighty. So you know what I'm gonna do? I want to speak about an issue that was brought to my attention. I guess it's because I did that interview at Sonetta Studios, and there was a couple of things I was throwing out about, for instance, I used to get this a lot too, from brothers and sisters, my African-American brothers and sisters, about my hair being too straight, even though my hair, when it grows, it curls up. You know what I'm saying? I come from a melanated mother. In my family, my uncles, everybody had afros. It just happened. My hair is just wavy. It's really, really wavy and is out there because that's a mixture. But anyway, so and the skin tone being lighter and whatever, you know what I'm saying, and it's been used. it's a disease, you know what I'm saying, because it's looking at the extremity of things when we should be looking at the character and personality of the person first. You know what I'm saying? But I understand. This is a very, very touchy conversation, you know what I'm saying, because it deals with Black supremacy and also white supremacy. I just want to say this, and it's one thing that a master teacher has said: I come giving you what you want, so you may want what you need. A lot of times, our people, we've been so polluted, we've been so brainwashed, indoctrinated, you know what I'm saying, that carry over to genetics. So it's in us. So we're looking for something to balance that. So, our and I say my ancestors too, because I'm going to bring up the scientific data about the Caribbeans and its African influence. And this is something that, a lot of people don't realize. They just look at the outer extremity of the individual, but they don't know what's inside, what's genetically in there. Of course, there's admixtures. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if your hair is more kingly, right? Curly, kingly. It doesn't matter if you're darker in skin. You can still have European genetics. You know what I'm saying? In you. You know what I'm saying? And it can affect your mind. That's what we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? That's all separatism, and that's all, it's meant to separate a race of people, a pool of people, you know what I'm saying, especially in the States. Let me bring up something here. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. And this is very, very interesting. I'm going to read to you. So that's going to be my introduction to this type of conversation. And we have to be very, very careful of this, because it's a remnant. It's something that came over from the period of time, like the 60s and the 70s, and even before that, a period of time where our African-American brothers and sisters needed this in order to balance. Being brought up in the States under a very heavy slavery indoctrination, you know what I'm saying, and that whole white supremacy and stuff, they needed a balancement in that, okay? And so we understand that, you know what I'm saying? But now is the time to go beyond that. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of brothers and sisters are not gonna like it because it's coming from me. Okay, it's coming from me. Even though I am a little melanated, I go in the sun, I get very melanated, man. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not as melanated as my mother or my uncles or my grandfather. I could show you a picture of my grandfather was African. You know what I'm saying? And my mother, a very heavy, a melanated woman. You know what I'm saying? That I come from that womb. So they don't want to hear it from a brother like me. But I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you straight. You know what I'm saying? Let's bring something up here. This is a great read. And let me see. I need to bring it up. Let me see. Give me a second. Let me see where would I find it at. Ah, Jesus. Let me see. Is it here? Let me see. No, I don't think this is it, right? No, that's not it. Sorry. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. I need to find it. It's going to be on the Google Drive. No, it's going to be, okay, it's going to be on the inbox. All right, give me a second. I'm, navigating through this thing. I should have had it all prepared. Oh, yeah. Inbox. Here, is it this one here? Share? Hey, this is the one. Okay, let me bring this up first. Let me see what you got here. And I'm going to bring it up here, solo, so you can read it. Okay? Yeah. Let me bring that up. Okay. Okay. Look at this. This is the genetic consequences of the transatlantic slave trade in America. This is an article. This is an article that was put together. Okay, this is scientific data that was put together. And they use the 23andMe research team, and they use a lot of these geneticists. Okay, now so according to historical records of the transatlantic slavery trade, forcibly deported an estimated 12.5 million people from ports along the Atlantic coastline of Africa between the 16th and 19th century, with global impact reaching to the present day. More than a century and a half after slavery abolition. Right? Now, such records have fueled a broader understanding of the forced migration of African to America, yet remain unexplored in concert with genetic data. Right? So here we analyze genotype array data from 50,281 research participants, which combined with historical shipping documents. Remember I said you can have all the documents and all the doctrine, historical doctrine, but it's a thing to use scientific data to back up that doctrine. That brings about a balance, right? That's very, very important. So it illustrates that current genetic landscape of America is largely concordance with the expectation derived from documentation of slave voyages. For instance, genetic connection between people in the slave trading region of Africa and disembarkation regions of Americas generally mirror the proportion of individuals forcibly moved between those regions, while some discordance could be explained by additional records of disputation within America. Okay, and on and on and on. You got to read this. So now, the forced displacement of more than 12.5 million men and women and children from Africa to the America between 1515 and 1860 has had a significant social, cultural, health, and genetic impact across America. The consequences of the displacement are myriad and complex, reflecting the very economic goals and practices of nations outfitting the ships that transported captives. Okay, what am I trying to read here? Well, this is a great. I mean, you're just gonna have to read through it. But there was something I want to. What are we trying to find? What am I trying to find here? Oh man. Um, Strange. I had it. I wanted to read this to you. Very, very important. This is a great read, man. Great, great read. Where is it? 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 I'm sorry. Oh, okay, here. For example, okay, when you read on the current narration of the era of forced deportation has been compiled with thousands of historical shipping documents, as well as diaries, personal letters, sketches, and records of slave sales. These data suggest that a number of enslaved people disembarking at each port of America, the nation that shipped enslaved people to be given port, and the population of geographic location in Africa from which captives were taken differs from the region to region within the Americas. Okay, not everybody was taken out from the same area. So, for example, shipping manifests indicate that the number of enslaved people disembarking at Brazilian and Caribbean ports was far greater than the number disembarking at other ports in America. An estimated 10.1 million enslaved people, primarily male, disembarked in Central America, South America, and the Caribbean, counting more than 90% of all captive who were brought to the America, with fewer than 500,000 disembarking in the mainland and North America. Okay, so places like Brazil, places like Mexico, places like the Caribbean, far more greater were enslaved, was brought to these ports, far more greater than in the mainland in America. It shows historical records and it shows even genetic. Again, let me see something. As you read on, and this is backed up by, like I said, by a lot of shipping manifests. They kept an account. Remember, this was their currency, their money, human cargo. So they kept an account of all of this. And if you look at Brazil, Brazil have a far more greater, a lot of more slave from African was brought over to Brazil. And then you have areas like Haiti was the drop-off point where they send people to Puerto Rico, Mexico, they just distribute them all over. Okay? This is, great, great, great read. This is scientific data backed up by historical records. Okay? So when, you hear people, oh, you ain't African, your hair too straight. They don't know that we were in the Caribbean, in Brazil, in other places, they were able to keep that more African expression because there was more Africans in this area. But then you ask, why do y'all look a little different? Some of y'all. Some look different because there was a mixture. You had indigenous people like Taínos, Native American, the Arawak, Incas, Aztecas, and the slaves mixed in. It wasn't like in America where some Native American took enslaved workers with them through the tiers, or what is it, Trail of Tears? They were workers with these slaves. They had slaves, some of these Native, in America. But that did not happen in the Caribbean. It did not happen in Mexico. It did not happen in Brazil. It did not happen in Cuba. They intermixed themselves. Different than in North America. Okay? That's why when you go, that's why the African expression is very strong in the Caribbean. In places like Jamaica, Trinidad, right? Puerto Rico, Santo Domingo, Haiti. Then you got Brazil, Guyana, even in Mexico, pockets in Mexico. the African expression is very, very strong. I tell you, my family, we all play percussion. We all play African drumming. We understand the 6/8. We understand those rhythmic patterns that come directly from Africa. We kept that. That's passed on, ancestral, passed on genetically. You know what I'm saying? It's just, again, the mixture with the Native American. And then the mulattoes, when you speak about the mulattoes in Spain, southern Spain, right? In those areas, and in Portugal, in that area, those Malian, those warriors from Mali, the Fausa and all those tribes coming from Mali and Nigeria went into these areas and set up their civilization for almost 800 years, ruled for 800 years, and mixed in, okay, again, a mixture with the Europeans that were coming in from the north. There was a mixture. But that's African diaspora, that area. When you look at flamenco, is an African expression. It's just an Hispanic, Moorish, and it's a Moorish way of expressing the Africanness. Look that up. Open up your mind. Okay, that came over to the area they call Latin America because those mulatto was brought over and mixing in with the mixture of the Native American with the Africans. You gotta know your historical facts, and not only that, you gotta know your scientific data. So there's a lot of, I don't know, there's a disease out there where people don't not know, but again, I understand, I overstand that it was needed at a certain time because of the what they call the detrimental that our Africans, the disembarkment, the Africans that came over to the mainland was treated more poorly. They were more strict. And except for some pockets, like in Louisiana, some pockets in South Carolina, there are some pockets where they were able to maintain their African expression. But I listen, I look with a side eye at those that talk about their Africanness, but don't know anything about their African culture, their nature, African nature. They don't know anything about rhythms. They can't even dance an African dance the right way. You know what I'm saying? Open up your mind. Open up your heart. You know what I'm saying? Learn something from your brothers that came from the Caribbean, okay? If it wasn't for Arturo Schomburg that came from Puerto Rico, a melanated man who, again, melanated, and at the same time in Puerto Rico with the teachers there, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, there was some that leaned more to the European ways, and he questioned that. He questioned it very much. Like, why is there's not no, why are, people like that look like me are more African? What happened to that expression? What happened to those stories? I want to know. And so he set out, when he came to America, he set out to what? To learn and to collect data, African data. Yeah, Arturo Schomburg from Puerto Rico got together with Marcus Garvey from Jamaica. Samaka, we call it Samaka, Jamaica. Got together, and what they do, they educated all those African American that was coming from the South, and they educated them. These are men coming from Ireland because they were able to express it. They understood it because they had a more open expression in there. You know what I'm saying? They brought that with them. in their heart. You know? So we got to look out for that. You know what I'm saying? We got to help our brothers and sisters out. Stop doing that. That's separatism. Stop doing that. Because genetically, let me see it. So it says here, concurring with transatlantic voyages, slave trade also transferred nearly 500,000 slave people throughout America, with most documented inter-American voyages originating in the Caribbean. So they took a lot of 500,000 slaves in the Caribbean and brought them into the mainland. Despite of the majority of the enslaved African disembarking into Latin America, estimates of population of African ancestry for Latin America with African roots are lower on average than estimated African American. So the genetics, you know what I'm saying? Because of the mixture. Further pattern of embarkation of enslaved population vary over times, whereas people primarily from 48 distinct ethno-linguistic groups were targeted across Atlantic Africa. Okay. So, I mean, this, it's talking about the again, when you speak about recreation, you speak about a lot of things, and you speak about genetics, you cannot disclude, you have to include the genetics in the Caribbean and in Latin America. Because that is part of your story. And I'm speaking to my African American brothers here in the States. That's part of your story. Some of those your ancestors were brought from these places in the Caribbean, because that's where the embarkment was far more greater than in North America, and then the States, United States of America. Okay? So, I mean, this is a great read. It goes over to a lot. You know what I'm saying? Genotyping, and here goes a graph, embarkment. Look at this. Look at 49 million here. Look at this. Into the America, and also to Europe, Africa. People brought all over, You have to just read that graph. So I don't want to hear that no more, man. I don't want to hear that no more. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Doesn't make sense. Does not make sense at all. You know what I'm saying? And you got to understand it, because that's, again, when there are people that they want separatism. You know what I'm saying? They carry those genetics that, in other words, they want to feel supremacy. You know what I'm saying? They want that. They want that doctrine. They want that doctrine and dogma. That what I call racial doctrine, racial dogma. They want that. It's not what they need. It's just that's what they want. They want that religious doctrine and dogma. So that's why it was put to me by one of the master teacher, the master of masters, Payanun, has said, what? I come giving you what you want, so that you may learn to want what you need. So you want that doctrine? You want that religious doctrine? Here it is. You want that racial doctrine? Here it is. You know what I'm saying? You won't feel good about you. Here it is. Let me give you all of that, so you get it out of your system. I have gotten to certain conversation with certain people, and I'm like, wow. Don't get me started about hair types. Don't get me started about that. Or skin tone. In Africa, you got many skin tone. One of the oldest people that have carried the oldest genetics are the Khoisan people, right? In South Africa, the Khoisan, look at their complexion. Look at their eyes, their complexion. Wake up. Stop that. Because that sister and brother, okay, that may have that Native American, Taino, that Caribbean brother or sister, can have the key for you to learn about your cultural expression, your African expression, okay? Especially those coming from Haiti, you know, and more those coming from Cuba. Oh my. So this is a genetic connection compared to historical document. Well, this is just speaking about the ancestor sex bias. This is a great read, man. You got to really, because this is giving you the genetic um, data that they did, and it's in line. Let me tell you something. I did my DNA, and you have to interpret it a certain way. I have from the Iberian Peninsula 52% from Portugal and Spain. But remember, those are mulattoes. That's African diaspora. When you speak Spanish, you're speaking Moorish Latin, the mixture between Latin and what they call the Moors. That's what they call them, but they were from Mali and from Nigeria. And then I have 35% of actual African genetics, and most of it from Mali, 15% of Mali, okay? But that 35% together with that 52% makes me from that region. That was African expression. And we just say African expression in lack of a better term, with melanated people all over, even in Europe. There's melanated people in Europe that travel with families. I mean, you look at the oldest picture in Europe, man, they had afros. Look at, for instance, Tom Jones. People, Tom Jones, a black man. Tom Jones is Welsh, Scottish. Well, no, he's Welsh, right? Look at him. Stop that whole thing about the hair and fur and hair. That's just doctrine that was given to you just to make you think. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean shit, because your heart doesn't grow hair. Your organs inside of you doesn't grow hair. Don't mean shit. It's beautiful, because I tell you, I used to love when my mother used to come down the block wearing a big afro. And I used to love my mother's hair and my uncles, their afros. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it don't mean nothing. It don't make you feel greater than who you are. No, it's your character and personality. Stop beating your brothers and sisters down. It's terrible. It's separatism. You know what I'm saying? It just shows your ignorance. You're ignoring facts. So this is just saying that the correlation between, you know, okay. I'm going to have to end this very soon. So here, continental Africa ancestry estimates are unexpected given the numbers of enslaved people disembarking in America. Nearly 70% of the 10.5 million enslaved people who survived the Middle Passage disembarked in Latin America. Yet regions of Latin America have the lowest overall population of African ancestry. How is that? On the contrary, individuals in the study from the United States have the highest ancestry proportion on average. How is that? Again, it talks about the mixture. They weren't allowed to mix as much in the Americas, but they weren't also allowed to express themselves. See? Yeah. you gotta really, sex was a main important thing also that, we can go deep into it. Uh, this is a great read, man. And these are all of the sources, web sources and the references here. I like to go to these references and read it, and on and on and on. 78% different sources. So I suggest, man, read up, read up, read up, think, balance, what they call paradoxical reasoning. This is all paradoxical reasoning. Your religious people out there speaking on that religious doctrine, well, how does that line up with scientific data? And then you have all these groups saying, oh, science is not the way it should be. It has to. We deal with science every day in our life. Science, the word from sensia. Sensia is what? Senses, feeling, touch, and also common sense, reasoning. Common sense. You get it? You have a sense there in your brain called common sense. Very important. Yeah. So this is what I just wanted to speak about, this findings, how separatism is a disease, man. It's that shadow self, you know what I'm saying? And we got to know who we are, and we got to know, stop beating your Caribbean brothers, stop beating your brothers who might have straighter hair, and I seen brothers when they get a later age, and white things out. It's just the way it is. When I was young, I had a full hair. My hair grows out, and I'm saying I'm proud of it. It grows out and curly. You know what I'm saying? At my older age, when I was short, just like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? The only people you find with the really tight curls that water don't even, it doesn't even hold water. It's the koi san people, because that's the conditioning. You know what I'm saying? Conditioning. The right conditions, the right moisture, the rainforest people, it's different. Your hair is different, but that's not important. Those are outer extremities. Stop doing that, because you could find a variation of skin tones in Africa, and amongst our people, you find a variation of color, hair, texture, variation in size of the nose. You find that variation amongst us. You have a right to pick and choose what you want, no doubt about it. But then stop being detrimental towards, you know what I'm saying? I'm a percussionist. I know African drums. I could teach it to all my brothers and sisters. I've taught it to a lot of my brothers and sisters here in the States, and they love it. And I played in a lot of bembe. I played in a lot of Kwanzaa in Orlando, and they knew it. You know what I'm saying? So they know where to go to. You know where that resonance is at. You know what I'm saying? So stop always judging. You analyze it and you use what you need. You know what I'm saying? Stop that. You know what I'm saying? Even brothers that had admixture, that might have a Caucasian mother and a father is melanated, or the opposite. Stop it. It's still your people. There's an expression there. There's a humanity there. I've learned that I don't see that anymore. I see humanity, because remember, you have that higher mind in the constellation. And whatever happens in the constellation, whatever the sun happens, in the constellation affects everyone. Doesn't matter where you at or who you are, affects you. Looking now with this virus, COVID-19, everyone's is getting it. It doesn't matter what you are. So just again, I understand that some people need that. They need to feel that supremacy. They need to feel that doctrine, that dogma. They need that. Instead of what they really need is to connect to the source of it all. What they need is that electromagnetic spectrum, that force within themselves. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. I gotta take care of some stuff here. I got my granddaughter. Hey, listen, whenever you want to have a conversation about something like this, just let me know. Let me know. Because I'm telling you, I could put up scientific data. I could put up historical records. You know what I'm saying? And also I could demonstrate to you the soul that I have. And I know very light-skinned brothers with blue eyes who play percussion that will blow your mind apart. You'll be like, yo, wake up, man. Wake up. Peace and blessing. Let me see something. Peace.